From the world of maybe programming and control with James King, I'm Steve Greenblatt, and this is Ask the Programmer. James, how are you today? I'm glad we're back and looking forward to a nice chat with you.
Oh, I'm doing great, Steve. It's always great when we can connect and have a discussion. And how are you doing?
Doing pretty well. It's we're winding down the week, so it's kind of nice to use this as a way of catching up and talking about some things that we enjoy, and we get a chance for you and I to talk through a few things and have some fun today. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it as well.
So we were going to try something new today a little bit and do throw out a question, and we have a few different answers, and both of us are going to talk through what we think are maybe the most appropriate answers to the question, and hope those of you out there listening can relate to this and see what you think and what you would choose as the most appropriate answer. So we'll put the question and the answers in the show notes. But here we go. So the question is, what's the toughest part of being an AV programmer? And answer number one is dealing with vague or changing requirements. Answer number two, getting blamed for things that aren't code issues. Answer number three is not being included in the design process. Answer number four, explaining complex systems to non-technical clients. And number five, helping everyone else do their job that is not programming so that programming can be finalized and verified. So, James, anything jump out at you here? I know that these are all probably pretty tough, and we can, argue a few of them, but anything jump out at you?
I would like to take answer number six, all of the above. Uh,
Perfect. That means we hit
yes.
the mark.
Yeah. I would say probably it all depends on how you come about it. But I would say one of the most challenging part, I would say, is helping everyone else do their job so the programming can get done because we are reliant on them to plugging in the wires, put the equipment online, get all that stuff. So we are relying on them. If they're not doing it, then we're delayed. So we got to push it through. I would say that's probably the hardest part in my mind.
I can definitely relate to that, and I'm sure that many people have had a lot of late nights in that situation and dealing with waiting and making sure and kind of getting your turn, even though the deadline hasn't shifted and everybody needs to finish their part in order for you to start yours, which is also always unfortunate. Um, I think that that kind of probably might go hand in hand a little bit um, in some respects with getting blamed for things that aren't code issues, because in order to get programming to work, it requires other things to also work, whether it's setting up a piece of equipment, a proper design, a misaligned expectation, a wiring issues. There's so many times I'm sure that you could relate where somebody presses the button, it didn't do what they expect, and they say nothing works. And that's such a common thing, and it probably is the most hated phrase that a programmer can think of when when that's the case, because there's 9 million reasons why nothing would work, and it most likely not the programming. And I remember having a conversation with somebody once saying that, do you really think that we would have had you either install this or test this or accept this if nothing worked? Like that, I mean, give us a little bit of credit.
So yeah, going with that, I agree. Like I that term, nothing worked. Well, something had to work, even if the touch panel lit up. Like it's something worked. Um, but yeah, I don't know. Just thinking, hearing you talk, and thinking here, to me, I kind of put programmers, AV programmers, in kind of a special category, like kind of like goalkeepers in soccer. And bear with me. I know some people are like, "Why are we talking about soccer or goalkeepers here?" But bear with me. Let's and see if you can follow my thought process here. Is when a striker or a field player on the soccer team, they shoot the ball, say 100 times, and they make one goal, they remember the one. As a goalkeeper, you can make 100 saves and let one in, you're going to remember the one. It's always so. Same with programmers. We can have an awesome programming thing out there, but there is a bug. It's always the programmer's fault. There's a problem with the programming, and like the saying goes, we say this in the higher ed community all the time: is it's not the network until it's the network. So it's like you have to prove it's the network, it's the problem. You have to prove that, like, when I'm kind of go here, let's see if people can follow my thought process here. Is when someone goes, "Oh, it's the programming that's the problem," we have to prove it's not. But if we say it's networking, they're like, "No, you need to prove it is." Or, "Hey, it's a wiring." No, you need to prove it's the wire, instead of them going, "Okay, let me prove it's not the wiring."
That's a really good point, actually. It's a
Yeah.
really good point. Um, I I I I think all of these, you know, speak to the fact that we didn't say anything in here about the toughest part being writing code. It really was not that none of these five answers that are all, I think, very valid answers had anything to do with what a programmer is really known for, you know, or what they how they're labeled, if you will.
Yeah. And I do find that very interesting. As we have talked over the years here, Steve, about the programming community and all that stuff. I know we have tackled the topic of what a programmer does, and we've even broke it down to a percentage with Chat GPT and stuff. And programming, the actual programming, what's in our title, is very minimal of what we do.
Yeah, yeah. It's which to me I think speaks to the fact that, and we talked about this in recent episodes with Mike Krejci, where we said, is it more important to be able to know how to write code, or is it more important to know AV? And I think that, then this is one of the reasons why we're really not threatened by all of the other programmers out there, because they may be able to write code, but they have to be able to do all the other aspects of the programmer's job, the AV programmer's job.
Yes, definitely. And I got other things on there, but I think that's going to derail this episode, so I'm not going to go down that thread. We
That's
can save
fair.
that. Yeah.
And one of the items on here, I think that's been a long standing issue or complaint that programmers have had is not being involved in the design process. Um, do you feel like that's still something that um, has to be changed and is a real pain point for programmers? Is it I believe that there's more attention being given to it, but I'm not sure if we're there yet where programmers are being consulted when systems are being um, designed early on.
I would say, really, that's probably hard for me to answer because my experience and my knowledge, even in the higher, is the design person is either also the programmer
Hmm.
or they have a working relationship with the programmer. Like, they're on the same team, they're talking, here's the design I'm doing. So in higher ed, I feel either the programmer is also the designer or there is a very close relationship there, which I know is not always the case elsewhere. So I like it. That's why I'm saying I don't know if I'm the best to speak on that part because I mean, Steve, your team's probably more on the program and less on the design, and you could probably speak on that a little more.
Well, I like where you're going with that though, because if you're seeing if what you just said is valid and that's common within the higher ed space, that's really great. I mean, that means that programmers are being a lot having being thought of earlier and having a higher level of respect and they have influence over what the systems are going to do and how they're going to do them.
So on paper and where you put that, that sounds great. And I'm sure there's probably our listeners go, no, that's not the case. Um, at least in my eyes, I think in higher ed it's the nature of higher ed. It's like if they hire one person to handle AV, and they may be the last one at the table, but they have to design the system, they have to spec the equipment, and it's like, wait, the sheet rocks are up and everything's done, and wait, now I got to do all this. So we're still last. It's just now we're wearing multiple hats. Um, yeah, and
Good point.
that's just where I look at it more.
Well, it reminds me of our conversation with Britt Yenser, several episodes ago, where she's the manager of AV at her school, but she designs systems and she is in the field implementing them and programming them and training users and so on and so forth. So that does say a lot that you have to wear a lot of hats.
And that is the nature of higher ed. Again, I don't want to derail this, so I'll keep it very short. If anyone who's at Infocom, I know that was a while ago. I actually was on a panel with a bunch of other higher ed folks, and we talked about that. And I don't know if you attended it, you would actually seen as we are talking, the panel is talking about what we do and how we do everything. Our moderator, Ryan Gray, shout out, hopefully we get a retweet. He is during the whole thing, he's taking random hats that we brought in and putting them on his head. Just to show that we are wearing multiple hats.
That's a good visual. That's a really good visual. Um, Anything that we haven't thought of here, in terms of, toughest part of being an AV programmer. We didn't touch on explaining complex systems to non-technical clients. Is that relevant?
Mm, it can be, but again, my understanding is either programmers know how to talk to users or they're not talking to users, it's somebody else.
Yeah,
So I would say something that's not on this list is, and one of the reasons why we started this podcast, it's a lonely position.
yeah,
It's especially in the higher ed, at least from my work knowledge, you may have one programmer, two, and yeah, you work on a team, but like who you're gonna chat about, like, oh, I'm having a struggle with this program if nobody else is understands programming. And like I remember enough. This is no fault at them or anything. I remember I was struggling with a program one time in my old job. I walked out of my office, and you could see it on my body language. I was, you know, stressed about it. I guess you can bet. And my coworker asked me, he's like, "Hey, what's going on?" I was like, I'm just stuck on this one program part. And he's like, oh, maybe I can help you. And I try to explain it to him. And I can, again, he's not a programmer. I can see the eyes glaze over. And I was like, don't worry, I will figure it out. I just need a break from it. And eventually I did. But again, not having that resource, I could talk to them like, hey, I'm struggling here. How would you do this? And all that stuff is, I always say, it's probably the hardest part as being a programmer.
yeah. True, true. I do think, and again, if we point back to, some of our past episodes recently when we spoke with Mike Krejci, we talked about how when you're working in modern programming languages, you could benefit from millions perhaps of programmers, and there's so many different ways to get resources and get answers and figure things out. AV is a little bit more special in that regard, in that you might be able to figure out a programming bug, but you may not be able to figure out the specific thing that's going on in your system right now. And that could be, as we've talked about for some time, it's a combination of troubleshooting and also having a rich knowledge base and being able to rely on your past experiences to figure out why something might not be working. I call it like you have to go through your mental Rolodex.
Yeah, no, that's great. You definitely do. And the more you address it and the more you work that muscle, the quicker you get through that Rolodex.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, hope everybody got a little bit out of this episode, whether it was a head nod or something where you are challenging an idea that we said, or maybe have a differing opinion. It's, I think, really important for us to share our ideas, and we'd like to hear from you and see what you think, and you know I think if nothing else, we should be able to get a little bit of chuckle out of these things together, and say that we all, as a community of programming professionals, can relate to this question. So, um, for, what is the toughest part of being an AV programmer in your mind? Let us know. Put some comments in either the feedback on this episode or in the LinkedIn community. We would really like to hear from you. James, how can people get in touch with you? How can they continue this conversation, provide any feedback or thoughts that they have?
Again, you can Google me. You'll find me. I'm out there. Um, in the LinkedIn as the programmer community. Again, Google me. You'll find me.
Absolutely. And for me, you could find me at Steve Greenblatt on social media. And my company, Control Concepts, is a supporter of this podcast. So if you are looking for some ways to enhance your programming, or looking for some integrations between products and control platforms, you can find them at controlconcepts.net. And those are the things that we do in the industry. Um, but as James said, we'd really like to use this as a platform to build community and to let programmers come together and share ideas and help each other and so forth. And one way that we do that is through LinkedIn and the Ask the Programmer community. And um, but certainly feel free to reach out. I think that there's a lot of people out there who um, are very friendly and willing to connect, and there's many places to do that. And we just want to use this as one way of being able to bring people that are like-minded together or would like to learn more about programming in the AV space. Uh, our podcast, as you might know, has a video version on YouTube and an audio version on your favorite podcast player. Check them out in whichever format you prefer. And we appreciate you listening and watching. And until next time, this has been Ask the Programmer.